Hey everybody, I'm Moto. Let's go for a ride. So let's talk about my 3 tips for staying safe on the road. Now, 2 things before we talk about the 3 things. Number one, these are not the only 3 tips. Obviously, there's tons of things out there. These are just things that you can add above and beyond. That's number one. And number two is that these are not the first 3 tips that you should learn. These are more of, you've already been riding for maybe a little bit, and it's a couple of things to watch out for. A lot of you are probably already doing this, which is really good. Okay, so the first tip is to maintain the best defensive position. Not all the time, but when you need to, you'll know. So, what do I mean by best defensive position? Well, in motorcycle riding school, or in theory, you're taught to stay in a certain tire tracks. So, for example, in this case, I'm in the left tire track, which is the correct one. And you just have to understand that this is a very aggressive riding position, meaning that if there's a car beside you, you are aggressively asserting your position in this lane by staying on this side. It's a very aggressive position. Sometimes you have to do the opposite and you have to go a defensive position because sometimes that's the more safer position. Now, I'll use an example, and we're gonna look at a video in a second. Nice. We're gonna use a video in a second. But just before we look at the video, I just want to kind of explain what was going on in the video, just so you have some context behind the video. So the rider in the video is in the most left lane, and so he's in this lane, and or she. So this is the position that they should be in, right? And the right 2 lanes, they're actually gridlocked, so the traffic's moving very, very slowly. But this lane, which is the HOV lane, is moving pretty quickly. So the rider is actually in this position, which is, again, is the correct position. What I think the rider tries to do is, there's a car that from the middle lane that just moves in, and to try to avoid the rider actually tries to switch, but unfortunately ends up hitting the car somewhere in the middle of the lane. Now, had the rider realized that there's a traffic jam and there are no the cars are not really moving, and somebody might try to cut in, had that presence of mind and actually was on the left-hand side, which is not where you want to be all the time. It's like kind of how I moved over from this guy. It's not where you want to be all the time, but having recognized the situation, that would have probably been a better defensive position at that point. Just being in this corner, just in case anybody cuts in, you can much easier avoid them. So let's take a look at the video.
I just had traffic complaints about 403 there. Just kidding. Go ahead.
It's kind of like the 80-20 rule. 80% of the times you'll need to be in what I call the more aggressive position to maintain your your position in the lane. But there are times when that's probably not a good idea, right? It's probably safer to be in a different side of the lane. Okay, so that's number one. Maintain the best defensive position. Not all the time, but sometimes. Now, what's number two? So number two is don't blend in. So what I mean by don't blend in is when you're riding with a group of cars, what tends to happen is, as I'm doing with these cars here, we're moving traffic light to traffic light. We'll probably stop at the same light and go. I'm gonna blend in and they're not gonna notice me. So after maybe like a few minutes of this, they're gonna forget there's a motorcycle around. So what you actually want to do in this case is you actually want to do something different, right? So you actually want to do something different. So what you want to do is, you know, if your motorcycle is loud, then you want to be a little bit louder. And if your motorcycle is quiet, you want to maybe not drive the exact same speed as everyone else. You want to maybe go a little bit faster, a little bit slower, make eye contact with drivers. It'll help you stand out a little bit, and what that's going to do is they're going to notice you, and they're not going to accidentally come into your lane because, you know, they forgot about you or that. Now, it's happened to me a few times. Especially it kind of happens in rush hour traffic when you're moving with the flow, and there's not a lot of, you know, change in speed or something like that. So that's the second thing. It's do not blend in. Try not to blend in. Okay, and the third and final safety tip is don't go outside of your comfort zone. And what I mean by that is, I'm not saying don't ever go outside of your comfort zone, but what I'm saying is when you're out on the road and when you're out on the road and you're riding and you're doing something for the first time, just assess the risk. Don't just do it. So for example, if you're riding with a group of riders and they all start going fast, and you've never gone fast before, it's the first time, maybe you probably shouldn't go very fast, right? What you want to do is you want to work up to a certain place. So again, if you've ever ridden in the city and you've never really gone that fast in sort of a downtown area, and you haven't really had the opportunity to go that fast, and all of a sudden you end up going out on the back roads where riders are maybe going a little bit faster than you're used to. You know, work up to it. Maybe take some time out alone, and you know, again, work up a little bit, one step at a time. This also another example is turns. So if you've never gone on twisties, um, and you're going out either by yourself or with a group of riders, and you notice there's a lot of sharp turns and sharp bends. And again, you've never done that. You know, maybe take some time and you know, work up to it. Maybe sort of do it on your own time. If you're not comfortable doing something, you may endanger other riders or even other motorists, right? Like cars. Other examples of this are maybe popping a wheelie or twisting in and out of traffic. All right, so that's number 3. Do not go out of your comfort zone at the wrong time. All right, so these are my 3 tips. Thanks for watching.